Hafene, everybody. I'm Jason Salas, and I am here with Katarina Sgro Camacho. We are here at Legacy Gym, a wonderful gym downtown in Naganya. And Kat, this is your business. Congratulations on that. And you have an amazing story to share about how you're not a competitive athlete. You did play a little bit of soccer and rugby at academy.
Yeah.
But now in maturity, you're not a competitive athlete, but you were able to actually use the magic of sports and specifically running to help you deal with grief and something, and you achieved a larger victory in that, and I think that's amazing.
Thank you, Jason. First of all, thank you for coming here and allowing me to share my story of how I really turned the biggest pain in my life into purpose. October is actually National Depression and Mental Health Screening Month, and I really feel that we spend a lot of time focusing on our physical health and not enough time on our mental health, and that was a key for me during this process because January of last year I lost my dad and I had a very hard time coping with it. I probably did very unhealthy things to try to deal with it. I wanted to move off island. I was drinking a little too much. I spent a lot of time going to Ross, shopping, trying to get that dopamine, or whenever my husband, Seay, who was my fiance at the time, would go and train, I would just try to fill time spending it with friends and family. That's how I developed a running group, because of my husband.
And I love how you said, you were chasing like a dopamine. I mean, that's kind of like the literal neurological thing that are going inside your body, but as far as like your spirit, you were looking for an answer, maybe like a release, some sort of, like miracle that could help you, deal with dad's loss. And like 7 Januaries ago, I lost my dad too.
Sorry.
So I have that thank you. And so we have that empathy and everything. Yeah. So you turned to running, obviously. And you came up with this concept and everything to honor dad and to deal with it yourself. So tell me about like how exactly what your route was and what was the concept behind your running.
So my dad passed away January last year, and I actually did 2 runs. The first run I did, like you mentioned, I wasn't really an athlete. Yes, I did do rugby and soccer, but that was more my freshman, sophomore year. I graduated in 2010, so that was quite a while ago. And I was never much of a runner. I did it occasionally. The longest run I ever did prior was a half marathon in maybe 2015, 2016, and I swore I'd never do it again.
I love how you say, like, I'm really not an athlete, but I did a half marathon.
I trained for that. I did it with my mom, and it was because I had just met, I had just started dating Seay, and he was doing all these things, and so I just wanted to try it, and it just wasn't for me at the time. I didn't have any other purpose other than my boyfriend was doing it, and then he was watching a documentary about a woman who did it in honor of her mom's passing. She passed away from cancer, and she did all these distances in honor of her mother. So I told him, after just doing a 10K, I think I'm gonna do that. So I spent 2.5 months training last year. I did it in September. So I decided to run 64 kilometers, a kilometer for every year of my dad's life. And obviously there was no races around Guam coming up, so I just created my own route, and I chose different landmarks that reminded me of my dad. So I started off at our apartment at the time was in Tumuning, and then I would go to GRMC, and then I would go to my brother's house, some hotels, because we would always dance in the lobby. So all these markers that reminded me of my dad, and then I eventually finished at his grave. And throughout that process of training for it, it really helped me to cope with what I was trying to run away from, because when you're running long distances, you have a lot of time to think, process. I cried all the time. Just instead of running from the pain, I decided to run straight through it. And that's exactly how I dealt with my grieving. I would cry, I would talk to him, I prayed a lot, and then eventually I'd look at my watch and I'd realize, wow, I've never ran 15 miles before. I'm already there. So I'd cry because I'm happy.
It's that runner's inner monologue that you had, right?
A lot of people wanted me to share my story, but it was something that I was still dealing with grief. And I don't think that run really helped me to get over that grief. Right after that run, what I thought would heal me of all the sadness. I actually I was in 2 knee braces. I had nerve damage on my left arm. I couldn't feel it for 2 months because I was carrying a pack.
Because on the second round, you did 64 miles.
Yes.
You went from 64 kilometers to 64 miles.
Yep. And then
Incredible.
thank you. But I didn't run after that because of all the injuries. And the following week, right after my run in September, my grandpa went in the hospital, and then he eventually passed a few weeks after. So I was going through grief all over again, experiencing everything that I just felt a couple months prior. So I won't say that running helps me heal with my grief, but it did make me develop habits to become just a much stronger person, learn about perseverance. And just because times are hard, you shouldn't quit. You just gotta kind of stay through the suck and the resistance and keep pushing through, because at the end of it, there's something beautiful about it. I think a lot of times when resistance happens in our life, it's so easy to numb the pain, or it's so easy to stop doing something that's hard just for the fact that it's difficult and that's not life. And that's what actually brought me to my second run, which was 64 miles.
What's been the feedback of what people have found about your story and what they've been able to tell you about it?
I think because of my second run, it was more of a journey for me. Last year was just to cope with getting through life. And when you're so sad, you just want to find happiness in life. And that's what I think I did. And then the second run was both, I would say, for me and for my dad, but a little bit more personal to me.
And I think that is the ultimate lesson that you're sharing with anybody who's going through your own grief and everything. And it may be something that you have with a whole lot of people. It may be something that you have internally. And again, grieving is completely unique, completely personal, and completely subjective to each and every one of us that unfortunately has to go through it. But you said you can do hard things. And anybody watching this will say that you can do this too, and you can get through this. You happen to choose athletics, running in particular. Anybody out there watching, you can do this too, and you are able to get through it. And if you can be like Kat and actually just have a plan, have a wonderful spouse like Seay, who was cheering you on and who was your cameraman throughout the run and was making those videos, then you can do this too.
Definitely. And I hope that my story just inspires someone else, like how other stories have inspired me to
And we're not encouraging everybody to say sports is the ultimate solution or running is, you can write a book, you can possibly go on a trip, become a photographer, to do something and everything. But I think the one thing that you've taught me and you've taught everybody is pick something challenging.
Yeah.
And you've honored Dad in a very, very loving way. And he's so proud of you. And all of us in the sports community right now are just so inspired by you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as someone who's also lost his dad and everything like that, it's a wonderful way for you to honor a parent. So
I appreciate it. And someone told me recently that sometimes we have trauma in your life, and if you're able to do the healing for that trauma, your trauma eventually becomes a gift. And if you're able to share that gift with other people, it becomes a gift for other people to heal. So I really hope that maybe this inspires someone to do something.
Have you watched the video that you put on Instagram at all, or?
Yes.
Okay. Some people said that they might not, but if you want to be inspired, please watch Kat's video on Instagram. Bring some tissue too, because it is absolutely amazing, and it's about as true to the power of the human spirit as you're going to find. So, Kat, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jason.